It was a dark and stormy night, and the wind howled through the trees as if it were alive. Rachel shivered and pulled her coat tighter around her, trying to ignore the feeling of being watched. She had always been a brave person, but something about the abandoned house at the end of the road made her uneasy. It was said to be haunted by the ghost of a young girl who had died in a fire many years ago. Despite her reservations, Rachel had agreed to meet her friends at the house for a night of ghost hunting. They had heard rumors of strange noises and apparitions appearing in the windows, and they were determined to get to the bottom of it. As they approached the house, they could see that the windows were broken and the paint was peeling. It was clear that no one had lived there in a long time. Rachel's friends were excited and eager to get started, but Rachel couldn't shake the feeling that they were making a mistake. She tried to voice her concerns, but they were dismissed as nerves. They set up their equipment and began exploring the house, each of them armed with a flashlight and a sense of bravado. They had been inside for about an hour when they heard the first noise. It was a faint whisper, barely audible over the sound of the wind. Rachel's friends brushed it off as the wind, but Rachel knew better. She could feel the presence of the ghost, and she knew that they were in danger. She begged her friends to leave, but they insisted on staying. As the night went on, the noises grew louder and more distinct. They could hear footsteps approaching, and the sound of a child's voice crying out for help. Rachel was terrified, but her friends were determined to capture evidence of the ghost on film. They followed the sounds deeper into the house, ignoring Rachel's pleas to leave. Finally, they came to a room at the end of a long hallway. The door was locked, but they could hear the child's voice on the other side. Rachel's friends began to film as they tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly, the door swung open and they were confronted with a scene that they would never forget. The room was filled with smoke and the ghost of the young girl was standing in front of them, her face twisted in agony. Rachel's friends screamed and ran, leaving Rachel behind as they fled the house. She was frozen in place, unable to move as the ghost approached her. As the ghost reached out to her, Rachel closed her eyes and waited for the end. But it never came. When she opened her eyes, the ghost was gone and the room was empty. Rachel never forgot that night, and she never returned to the haunted house. She knew that some things were better left alone, and that the dead should be allowed to rest in peace.